I'm David, the lead singer.
I'm Rob, and I play the guitar.
I'm Travis, and I play guitar.
I'm Antoine, and I play bass and keyboards.
Hey, I'm Patrick, and I play drums.
We are in the Mission District. We're the Mission District.
The Mission District.
We can edit that out,
Completely
right?
We're a rock band. Some bands get carried away in their sort of labeling of their music and this and that. I think we play rock and roll.
A lot of the songs I've been writing lately, lyrically, are dealing with generational issues. We're this first generation that has unlimited resources. I like writing about, society and where it's going, but at the same time, a lot of the songs are, personal.
In terms of music, it depends on the song. Sometimes, I'll bring in something, sometimes he'll bring in something, he'll bring in something, sometimes he'll bring in something, and sometimes we write all together.
Sometimes a song will just sort of happen.
It's very rare that someone comes to a practice with a song that's totally written.
We get our inspiration from many different things.
I personally, when we're doing writing, I receive a lot of inspiration from the guys in the band. We really play off each other a lot, especially at practices where things are really tense and uncomfortable and we're all mad at each other. That's usually when the best songs happen.
We practice about 3 to 4 times a week.
Everyone's got pretty eclectic schedules. It can get pretty difficult sometimes to lock everyone down for an evening.
4 out of 5 of us have cell phones, so it makes it a little easier.
No, my cell phone was taken away because I got fired.
I really can't live without my cell phone. I'm never in one place for very long.
I'm a big fan of text messages. 500 messages goes fast if you use text messaging as often as I do.
So you definitely need to be reachable all the time.
It's generational too, because our parents' generation, it was a different deal. They had one job, they go home, they check their messages, and they have a schedule. We're just not at home as much. We don't go home to check our messages, so the cell phone, we need it because it's a different lifestyle. And in terms of the band communicating outside of the band, it's really email.
I didn't realize how addicted I was to checking my emails and stuff like that until I don't have a computer.
The internet can sort of be like that. You don't really realize how much you're using it. Your internet goes down. It's like this cataclysmic event.
Yes.
Well, what am I going to do?
If my internet goes down, I'll go to someone else's place and use it, or I'll go to an internet cafe pretty much instantaneously.
My internet provider sucks. There's always a problem. It's always slow. It's crashing.
I've had nothing but problems with my internet connection. I used to call their tech support all the time until I was told that there was nothing that could be done about it. Sometimes I can't connect to the internet at all. It's always slow. It'll cut out for no reason at all. It's just frustrating.
In the States, it's way better. I think it's just because there's more options in the States than Canada only has a couple of companies.
Paying less for a service doesn't really mean anything if it's no good. My service provider sold me something that they couldn't deliver. They can't provide the service that I bought, so I'm definitely paying too much.
We play, it depends on the month. Sometimes we'll do 3 or 4 shows in a month. Sometimes we'll do 1. If we're just playing in Montreal, we try not to overplay.
Don't want to wear out our welcome.
Yeah, exactly. And it was almost more networking between bands and promoters, and I don't know what they did, let's say before the internet. I mean, now you can book a tour online.
It's fun to play small venue.
Oh, big venues are fun too.
Yeah. We first met MC. She came to a tiny show that we did.
Marie-Chantal Turgeon. Sorry. Yeah, that's why people call me MC. I'm a blogger, podcaster, video blogger, and I also run my own business. I'm just talking, writing, and showing people things that matter to me and experimenting with all these new media. I started podcasting last year.
I had no idea what podcasting was.
We were all like, what's a podcast?
Until I heard about MC promoting the band, but it's helped us so much being involved with that whole thing.
I was in this bar to see a friend, and they were there playing.
And she saw us at that show and she liked our stuff.
Not even the day after, the night after the show, I came back home and I talked about them on my weblog, and then people heard them in my podcast, and then people saw a picture of them, and then I co-produced the show, and the news started to be spread.
MC really has a lot of, I would call it indie cred.
She has got such a big listenership, and she turns people onto our website and our MySpace profile.
MC's really, in fact, helped the band. The last show that we headlined at Main Hall was a success in part due to the fact that she really played our stuff on her podcast, and she announced the show a lot.
We have an expression, the music scene in Montreal. I like to say that it's on fire. There is this strong creative energy right now. For me, it's really important to promote these good bands that have no other window.
I think you could be the best band in the world, but if you don't have the means and the machine behind you, then probably nothing will happen.
When you're just starting a band, it's not like people are throwing shows at you. You really just have to get out there yourself and go get a venue, book it, and just kind of hope people start to show up.
There are the traditional routes, slugging it out on the road, taping up flyers at the record store, having a demo. Now there are higher tech routes on these things. Nowadays you can't even see a band without them asking you to get on their email list.
This thing, MySpace, is really helping bands out a lot. There's so many people on it, so it's getting so many hits, and it's worldwide, so everyone has access to it, and it's free.
With MySpace, you've got a friends list of all the people that are friends with your band. There's much more of a connection between the band and the fan base. Like, we can actually physically see who the people are that are listening to our music.
Mm-hmm. I think people crave this direct contact with the artist. As a fan, as a blogger, I get something that would not have been possible 20 years ago.
MySpace and the internet is probably the most powerful tool right now for musicians. A lot of unsigned bands are able to do exactly what they want to do as far as making their music the way they want to make it.
With the internet, there are no borders.
That musician with a great song could be living in Guam. Through technology, they could get people in Chicago listening to it.
15 years ago, it was more difficult for somebody in a remote location to discover an underground band in another city.
This is a fact that the planet is just getting smaller. If you put your stuff on the web, the world is there waiting.
It's cost effective, and it's remarkably easy.
If a fan discovers a band themselves online, they'll tell 10 of their friends, and then those 10 people will tell 30 other people, and it just keeps blowing up that way, and it doesn't really cost anything. Whereas I think a lot of major record labels are just dumping so much money into trying to market bands.
I think record companies changed over the years from signing a band maybe based on what they could do in a club or a demo tape to having the luxury of seeing how a band does once they put out their own music.
And we've had labels like write us through MySpace.
The record company in a way feels like they don't have to take as much of a chance because the chance has already been taken and they're already able to see results.
Is there a need for a lot of these huge record labels when, on the other hand, there's so many unsigned bands who are really becoming successful in their own rights through the internet?
I think eventually the record companies will come around to realize that the internet is the way to go. Things are changing and they have to adapt or they're gonna lose out.
Check, 1, 2. 1, 2.
The first step is really to get signed. We want to go further.
The album itself is we're starting work on it as soon as possible. We're all really chomping at the bit to get to work on it.
We kind of hope we'll get big one day because I would be able to just focus on the creative stuff, which keeps me alive. Wait, let me think. It's just a question of evolving as far as we can with this band, with those 4 other people that I love.